Courtney, are you there? Courtney?
Yes. Hi, Holly.
Okay, stand by.
Sure.
Thank you. Call the Thank you. I will now call the March 26, 2025 Historic Preservation Commission meeting to order. This meeting has been posted in accordance with Nevada open meeting law. All voting members are present except one. We have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the initial comment period. Public comment during this portion of the meeting must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak on a specific agenda item. The public may call 702-589-9629 to provide comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at this time? If so, they can come to the podium. Seeing there are no comments, we will close the initial comment period. First item on the agenda, approval of the minutes of, what was that date? February 26, 2025. Do I have a motion for approval of those minutes? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. Agenda item number 2. For possible action, recommendation to the City Council on an application for an RDA, Redevelopment Agency Historic Preservation Grant for 812 Arizona Street.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So, St. Christopher's Episcopal Church has submitted a grant application for our RDA Historic Preservation Grant. What they'd like to do is extend interior areas to improve ADA accessibility, repair current ADA ramp areas, and install ADA doors on the upstairs and downstairs entries to the church. Staff has put together background material regarding the church, including the 2020 survey. Courtney Mooney prepared a review, and that is included in your packet, where she indicates that the church and the proposed improvements meet the Secretary of Interior standards, as well as the design guidelines for this property. We have Ms. Mooney on the line, so she can certainly elaborate on her report if you have any questions for her. We also have representatives of the church here who can answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I'd just like to add that I agree with Ms. Mooney's conclusions. Everything does appear to be in line with Secretary of the Interior standards as well as the designs, and I would recommend that the council approve.
I have one question for Courtney. Why is the church not individually listed? And part 2 of that question is the work that they're doing, would that at all distract from future individual nomination?
Hi, good evening, Commission and Chair Davenport. The church they can certainly apply for individual listing. It was not part of the scope of the last survey to pursue listing for individual properties. So I'm not sure why it's not individually listed. I guess it's up to the property owner. And the work that they're doing would not impede a future application for listing in the National Register.
Thank you. And my question is for staff. Are the grant funds only being used for the chapel?
So what staff has done is, now the chapel as opposed to the additional building, correct. It's only the chapel that's eligible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to mention, just for the record, that in 2020, the church did receive another historic preservation grant for painting and carpet replacement. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that went through, that was funded?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't have any other questions.
I do not. That was a thorough report.
Well, I also agree with Courtney's assessment, and this is definitely a deserving project with that grant, with those grant funds.
And for the owners, thank you for being so thorough in your work to
Absolutely.
maintain the property.
It's beautiful.
I like how it's a sensitive project. It's really hard to add ADA to a historic property, and you guys did a really good job of being sensitive to the historic nature of the property. Thank you.
So staff is seeking a motion from the commission to recommend to the city council to approve the grant application.
Well, I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Colonel, is there anything you wanted, obviously we've approved it, but was there anything you wanted to add?
Oh, I just want to
Oh.
express our gratitude.
Sorry, can you come to the podium?
Oh, of course. I just want to say how thankful we are. We absolutely love our community so much. It's been such a privilege for my wife and I to be a part of this church and this community. Although we live in Henderson, we do live in Hendertucky, right on the edge off of the Wagon Wheel exit. So we're Boulder City adjacent family. But we have really grown to love this city, love this church. And the fact that all of you support the historicity of this building and this organization and ultimately ministry is so wonderful to us. And so we really view our city as partners in serving people, because that's really what our mission is all about, is loving people and taking care of those that have needs. And so thank you for allowing us to be a partner in everything that you're doing to better people's lives in Boulder City. Thank you so much. We're grateful.
Can you state your name?
Oh, yes. Michael Engfer.
Thank you.
Engfer. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, for possible action, matters pertaining to the 2025 Historic Preservation Day, selection of the 2025 Historic Preservation Award, and then continued planning for Historic Preservation Day activities.
So this is the continuation of the discussion among the commission, planning for the second Saturday of May and the activities. What I'd like to do is have the commission first evaluate the 8 applications that were submitted for the 2025 Historic Preservation Award. And I'd like to briefly go through those. So, the first application is 812 Arizona. This is St. Christopher's Episcopal Church, built in 1932. And it is a contributing property to the historic district. Then we have the Boulder City Company Store at 525 Avenue B, also a contributing property to the historic district, built in 1931. The next application is a residential property, 648 Avenue F, also contributing to the historic district and built in 1931. The fourth submission is originally a residential property, now a office building. This is 550 Avenue G. It It is contributing to the historic district and was built in 1941. This is adjacent to the Boulder Dam Credit Union. Then we have 429 Birch Street, also contributing to the historic district, built in 1938. Then we have 512 California Avenue. This is Grace Community Chapel, also contributing to the historic district. Then we have 515 Cherry Street. This is the only application that was submitted that's not contributing to the historic district. The property was built in 1945. And then finally, 524 Nevada Way, also contributing to the historic district. This is in our commercial downtown area in a commercial building. And so you have all the backup material for each of these applications, including the submission, the 2020 survey, which provides an analysis of the property. We also have photos of each of the properties in your packet, as well as a list of the prior properties that have received awards. And so we're looking for commission discussion on which property that you would like to select for the 2025 award. And I can answer any questions.
Can you offer some advice on how we should go about voting?
I guess I would suggest maybe having each of the commissioners kind of talk about which properties they felt were most worthy, and through that discussion, it may come to a clear consensus, and then you would seek a motion to approve that property. If it's down to like two of them based on the conversation, then I would do a vote on one and see if you get a majority. And if not, then move the second one and seek a motion on that one.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's start down on this end.
Laura, I have a quick question.
sure.
On the property that is at downtown, is it the strip that's downtown, is it just one of the stores or is it all of them? Because in each picture, it kind of shows something a little different. The
Yeah.
524 Nevada Way.
It's just the 524 Nevada Way.
Just that one, okay.
I have a question on those properties that appear to have real grass. Is that grass, and what's the city regulation currently on water-resistant lawn? And does that have any bearing on historical significance one way or another?
No, the grass would not have any bearing on the significance. In the respective non-functioning turf, for all the residential properties, they're actually exempt from having to remove non-functional turf because their front yards are considered functional.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any-
No, I don't. Well, I don't really have a vote.
I don't think, yeah. You guys don't have a vote, but can they discuss?
They can advise you, they
Okay, that's
they
what I
can
thought.
give advice, they just won't get to vote on the
That's what I
selection.
thought.
But I do want to say that, after several years, this is probably the most thorough list we've seen in quite some time, and there's a lot of good choices on here, and I don't envy you guys having to narrow that down one bit. So thank you to everybody that did put in, because these are
Absolutely.
wonderful choices.
Yeah.
Great to see the interest out there.
I'm actually going to say that I like the church, the first church, the Episcopal Church, mainly because they didn't just keep it nice in order to win the award, or they didn't just fix it up. They have maintained it from the beginning. And as long as I've lived here, which is now over 10 years, that building has always stood out as being beautiful and well maintained. And so to me, for them, it's a long-term commitment that they've made And I don't even know anybody who goes to that church. I just think it's a beautiful building.
I was going to say the same thing as well. That would be my vote. Absolutely beautiful. They keep it in pristine shape.
I agree, but I wish that maybe the two churches could share the award. But my choice would be 812 Arizona.
Very interesting. That is number one. It says it right here, I swear, on mine.
I'm jumping too.
I like your idea of the two sharing. However, I had an issue with the fact that it's the chapel that they're addressing, which I don't think has been evaluated, rather than the church has been evaluated. So I think there's some more homework that's needed to determine what is, how that chapel is historic, or how does it fit in with the entire property. But yeah, my first choice was the St. Christopher's Episcopal Church, followed by 648 Avenue F. But anybody else have any comments? Should we just go ahead and vote on?
I would.
Well, I think I heard all four of the voting members say that was their number one
Yeah.
selection.
Yeah, excellent.
That was easy.
Good job, kid.
You don't envy us anymore.
Still need to have a motion and a vote.
So is there a motion to nominate 812 Arizona Street for the 2025 Historic Preservation Award?
I make a motion.
And I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Boy, that was
All right.
easy.
We've
And
got
again,
the-
thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
So we got the first half of this agenda item done, and now it's to further discuss Historic Preservation Day, which will be the second Saturday of May, May 10th. And so in your packet, you have material to help further discussion, but what I wanted to focus on is the timeline based on the prior input. And I'll do an overview of that timeline, and then if, the coordinating members can further elaborate on the different elements that they're working on. I think we have plenty of information to then finalize the final flyer that can be distributed if everybody's in agreement with this timeline. And we'll continue to promote the events of that day. And so it would start off at 9 a.m. at the Browder's Bookstore with children's activities and, in coordination with Dam Roast House. It would be an opportunity for folks to get breakfast and participate in the activities there. That goes from 9 to 10. Then from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we would have the presentation of the 2025 Historic Preservation Award. And then also the presentation of the first, second, and third place banners for the Martha P. King students who have been creating those banners. Those would be given there. We are planning to have the event at the historic water filtration plant. You'll see later in the agenda, we've got an update on the activities for renovation. If we can get those completed, then we will, in conjunction with these activities and the children's activities, will have the building open for viewing. And then the final event of the day is between 1 and 2 o'clock at ABC Park, where we will have the historic tile demonstration. So with that, if you want to kind of elaborate on each of the functions you're working on and make sure there's concurrence with everybody.
I had a question about the first event at 9 at the Browder Bookstore, and it says a presentation of a poster. Is it really to be presented, or is it just going to be there?
It would just be displayed.
Okay. And do we know who's going to present the history of, will there be a presentation, or is it just passive folks coming and going, getting information, reading what's there?
I have no, I don't know.
I don't know who's part of that planning.
I don't know. I can contact them.
Well, where did this come from? How did this get on our agenda?
That's-
I assume they spoke to somebody.
I think Dawn was responsible for that.
Yeah, I got them
Oh, okay.
lined up, but I don't know who went further with it.
So if you go to page 135 in your packet, we have the activities and the responsibilities.
Okay.
So, yes, Commissioner Wagner was coordinating that event.
Okay.
Yeah. So in your conversations with the bookstore, what were they thinking of providing, like a history of the building?
I think that they talked to Akeisha.
Not that I'm aware of, but
Yeah, I'll have to
what I would
look, 'cause
suggest.
I did get an email on it, and I
Okay.
thought the two of them were talking.
What I would suggest, we still have the April meeting to finalize any of the last minute details.
Okay.
If there is general consensus on the schedule, that's what we need feedback on from this meeting.
Did you say you had gotten an email?
I think so, I'll have to look.
Is it on your phone? Can you look now to save us some time?
I don't know.
And maybe while she's working on that, you could elaborate on the children's activities. that the-
Absolutely. We have item number 3, and I have some activities, the supplies listed, and how it relates to our theme, preserving our past, shaping our future. These are kind of suggestions. We do not have to do every single one of these, but if we want to have them one activity at each of the different destinations to kind of keep people rolling and moving and encourage them to go to the different spots, we can do that, or we can have it at one location, have all of them, or one of them or two of them, whatever we feel we would like to do. And I know that number 5, the paper making, there's quite a lot of supplies, but I do have a lot of those in my classroom that we are able to use.
How many tables do you think you would need, depending on the number of activities?
Probably one per, if it would, are they the 8-foot plastic ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably at least one per activity.
Would this be a good idea to have one table set up, like, so there's 5 different tables set up, each table doing one different thing, and they can go and do which activity they wanted to do, and each one of us can man one of the tables?
Absolutely, unless we would like to have them at the different locations. Because some of them are a lot easier. The number 1, the archaeological dig, would be, fairly less intensive, and we could have that at, somewhere inside one of the locations if we needed to, or move them around.
Might be easiest just to have all of those activities at the historic water filtration plant, and then have the children be able to rotate. Because presumably, because that's where the revealing of the banner winners is going to occur, that's where we've got the most space.
Okay. And we
So-
have outside too, if it's a nice area.
Yeah.
Oh, nice area, nice. Outside. Nice day.
And if it's a
Nice
cold day,
weather.
we would have the room to move inside as well, right?
Well,
If
the
it's
challenge
open.
with the building itself is there's not a lot of space on the inside to set up
Okay.
tables.
Okay, well, at least we can be outside in that large area. I agree. I think that we should all do it at one area, and each one of us man a table, and this way the kids can go and do which one they want to do. I think it'll be a little bit more difficult to have ones at different locations.
I feel obligated to say that I have to work, so I would not be able to help.
Well, and I will be bringing, I have student council students that will be volunteering and NJHS students as well. We did 5 activities last year in one location, and it was me with my students, so more help the merrier. We would love to have everybody, but it doesn't have to be contingent upon each of us manning a table
Okay.
to have these activities.
Well, just know that I'm here to help if you need me.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
So you are going to supply all the supplies?
I'm going to give the list.
Oh, to the city and they'll.
Yes. But I do have, for number 5, I do have a lot of those because it would be costly to get those materials. Or if we think that one is too time-consuming and intensive, we can do some of the other ones.
You know, I have
1
a
and 2 would be
whole-
fun too.
I'm just gonna let you know, I have a whole box of mini wooden sticks that I can bring to you.
Fantastic.
Yes, and certainly what is not donated, the city will purchase for the events activities.
Okay, thank you. And we can, depending upon which ones we vote on or which ones we want to do, we can always post on some of the Facebook groups and see if anybody would like to donate.
Gosh, they all look great.
They do. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I just wonder about the mini Adobe brick house. That definitely has to be, I'm assuming, an outdoor project.
Yes.
So,
And time-consuming.
yeah. But I'm just wondering if the weather is yucky, then these others can kind of, I don't know. I can't take them indoors, but same with the archaeological dig, but.
I guess as a backup plan, you could have it ready to hand out as an activity that they
To
could
go.
do, to go, exactly.
Grab and go.
Yep.
Grab and go. Oh,
Yep.
that's a good idea. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
That's cool. Unless, does the city have any tents, shelters, whatever, temporary?
No, we've got tables and chairs, but
Okay.
not any shelters.
Okay.
Well, between now and our next meeting, we can I can go through and kind of time each of these and see how long it would be
Okay.
to complete them.
They're all great.
Thank you. I think number 3 would be really fun too. They could make it and then take it home and then reveal it when we're done.
Oh, I think that's great. I
Well,
want to
and
do that one.
do you think you need like more time? I mean, to do all 5? Do you, because I see that there's this break between 11, 12, 12, and 1. I mean,
So couldn't we just keep that part going all the way till,
as long as,
I think so. That's what we had on the other one. The presentation took place inside the hangar, but while that was going on prior, during, and after, people would come and go, and some of them had seen the presentation but just wanted to do the activities, and so it was kind of almost like an open house feel. Well, they would kind of come and, work a little bit and do some of the activities.
I have a question. We have a presentation. Do we have a sound system?
Yes, we do have an outdoor sound system.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
so if we were to continue the children's activities beyond 11:30, would that be okay to do it, continue at the water filtration plant, or do we have to shut down at the water filtration plant at a particular time?
Well, what I would suggest is you have the schedule from 10 to 11:30, and certainly if there are children still there, we wouldn't shut down. We would just continue to allow them to have activities. It just kind of sets expectations. If you extend the time frame too long, you might be obligated to wait, and then nobody may show up.
Perfect, okay. All right. And we're all set with the tile
Yes,
demonstration?
she's all set with that.
Great.
And that's a win-win for us and for her, because apparently a lot of people don't know that we actually have a art building that does ceramics. And she says she's been there for 20 years. So it'll be great for that advertisement. She said if there's a lot of people interested, that she'll actually create a class specifically just to do the tiles.
So, are you looking for to-do list? I mean, one of the things is when it comes to the present, or the information to the public, drafting schedule of events, and a map. And will that be sometime between now and May, or do we have to look at it at our next meeting in April?
Well, I would suggest finalizing that sooner than that, because then that would only be a couple weeks out from the event, because the sooner we can get the revised flyer together, the better we can promote it to the community. We've got the Save the Date flyer that was created by Commissioner May's class, and we could just enhance that with the schedule and get that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the addresses or a
Yeah.
map, or, was a map included? No.
Yeah, and so in your packet,
I think with how spread out, I think the addresses would be better. I mean, you can just
Google, any, yeah.
so in your packet on page 130 has last year's completed flyer. So it has a lot more of the details. And so we can basically take this Save the Date flyer and just enhance it with some more details on the address and the activities.
We can do that very easily.
Yeah.
Would you like that ready for, we'll have everything for next meeting?
Well, we want to do
Detailed
that
enough, you
before.
No, we
that,
want to
because
get that
the
out as
next
soon as
meeting's
possible.
just a couple weeks before. You need to get this, like, we need to
Tomorrow.
finalize things today so they can start advertising. You want to start advertising no more than a month out.
Yeah, I would
less
suggest that
than-
if the commission conceptually is supportive of that, Commissioner May can have the children modify it to incorporate the schedule into the Save the Date flyer.
Absolutely.
And does the QR code basically copy this?
What the QR code does is it's a link to the city's website, which will have all of this information.
Okay. All right. So you're talking about revising this?
Correct.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
page 129 of the packet.
So then, I guess, get rid of mark your calendars.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the date, the times would be below
We could
each
even
of
have
these activities.
Yes, and get rid of these.
And
and
do
get-
pictures that are
Absolutely,
more
yep.
conducive to what the activity is. For
Absolutely.
those three.
And list them, the one in the
things.
middle, and we could even list the activities.
Sounds great.
Okay. You might need to move this up a little bit to get some more information in.
Yes, yep.
But that's, that'll work. All right.
When do you want me to email this to you by?
Well, I think, per Commissioner McMahon's suggestion, we should get this out a month before the event. So within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Did you do this?
Yes.
See what happens when I'm
That's
gone?
why I'm
I miss
agreeing.
everything.
Yes,
I'm
miss
like, thank you.
Any more suggestions? Just here, right here.
Okay, all right, yes, here. Okay, cool, excellent. All right. And we didn't talk about this with the Historic Preservation Award, but do you need help with writing the award certificate and all of that?
What we can do is we could send to you, Chair Davenport, the award as it's prepared, and if you have any suggested changes.
And who is presenting the award, or do we know that yet?
So, per the ask of the commission, actually, you had suggested the mayor, and so he's tentatively confirmed to be there that day.
Fantastic.
Good, okay.
You're off the hook.
That's good. It's much nicer when the mayor makes that presentation. But will he also, or will it also be brought before the city council at some point?
Well, last
do we
year, the
decide-
commission decided it was kind of, you had a lot more attention unveiling it actually at Historic Preservation Day as
Good.
opposed to a city council meeting.
Good,
So,
okay, just confirming that.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have to prepare for that
correct.
event. Okay, good deal. All right,
Should we possibly discuss times of being there, who's going to be there, all that fun stuff? Because you got to set up, right? Who's setting up?
So we're putting in a work order to have our staff set up the tables and chairs. And so that will be taken care of, and that will include the sound system. And what I would suggest is that we save the April meeting for any last-minute details and logistics.
Okay.
Who's in charge of the marquee sign when you come into town?
Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
Could they post any of this information for us?
They can certainly, and they have done in the past, highlight this event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like me to contact?
No, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I like this. You guys do all the work.
No, I mean, actually, what's neat is that commission is very involved in planning and participating in this event. It's a unique opportunity that not a lot of committees and commissions get to do.
And when will this be finalized?
He
Or when
said
are
that
you-
he needs, I can do it in the next week and a half.
Yeah. As long as we can get it out, a month in advance, that will be ideal.
Okay.
I do better with solid
I was just
dates.
wondering if we want hard copies to post in stores, coffee shops. Have we
Yeah,
done
we're
that in
ha-
the past?
We're happy to print out copies and provide to the commissioners, and then you can distribute wherever you would like.
Do you guys
Yeah.
think that's a good idea?
I
or-
do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Also, is it, we'll get one that we can put on our social media page, right? Like a digital,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else to add? Are we good?
I'll
need-
email it to you by April 8th.
Okay.
Is that
great.
good?
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Or if there is anything else you need from us, I guess you can just send out a mass email and get input that way. I don't know. But- All right, great, thank you. Next on the agenda, for possible action, matters pertaining to the Historic Preservation Plan.
So this is at the request of the commission. As you all know, every month we provide you an update on implementation of the Historic Preservation Plan goals, which were recommended by the commission and adopted by the city council based on community input. And so, based on reviewing goals yet to have been accomplished, staff focused on objective 3.1 and 3.2 and elaborated on both of those as to what it would take to accomplish those goals. We had Ms. Mooney do an analysis that also provides cost estimates, because this work would be done by Broadbent, and we have limited amount of resources available to implement. And so what we're looking for from you is feedback on each of these objectives. We also have, in addition to that, the Bullock Field nomination to the National Register and a summary of that task. Ms. Mooney is on the line, so she can answer any questions you might have on her assessment of what it would take to do each of these tasks, but we'd be looking for direction from the commission.
I have a question for staff. A lot of the items outlined in this talked about federal grants. Obviously, with the cuts being made presently, that's not in the cards. So would staff feel comfortable moving forward with some of these, knowing that there is limited funding? And if so, what do we see as the funding mechanisms for this?
So with these specifically, 3.1 and 3.2, we would look to use city resources, what we budget for our third-party historic preservation consultant to complete the work. But I can tell you that, based on our budget and our contract with Broadbent, we would be able to do one of these items within roughly the next 6 months. So that's why we're looking for you to prioritize among the three.
Thank you.
And that includes not only 3.1 or 3.2, but also the Bullock Field nomination. The city has funds for that?
Well, we're asking for you to prioritize the three. So what's your top priority, and then that we begin to work on that.
And just to clarify, for 3.1 and 3.2, she's combining those in this first estimate of 39,700?
Correct, that's the total.
Okay. Anybody have a feeling about what priorities, what are the priorities? I'll go first, and I suggest Bullock Field should be our top priority because there's been so much work in the past getting to this point, and plus we're now this newly nominated World War II resource with Henderson. So it just feels like there's a nice momentum going there with properties such as that. Anybody else have? And then I'll just say my second choice or next option would be mid-century modern or mid-century architecture, post-war, which also fits into, it could be tied into World War II. So.
Piggyback with each other.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to go opposite. Mid-century modern architecture, I think, is a higher priority than the field. But I haven't been on the commission very long, and I'm not 100% sure how much was put in the effort of this momentum for this field.
I say the field is first.
That's my vote.
Which one?
The field.
I agree.
Just to clarify, Chair Davenport, and I'll have Ms. Mooney elaborate, when she reported out her assessment last month, she had indicated that really what would be nominated is the hangar, not the field itself, because so much has changed with the runway and the rest of the property
Right.
that would not be eligible. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, that's what I read. I read that there's not enough on the field itself to indicate that it is historic in any way, shape, or form.
Correct.
That only the hangar is. So I don't know if we really want to spend more money on a field that has already been told that it doesn't have enough significance
Well, and Ms. Mooney's estimate is for the hangar.
for the
So
hangar.
just to clarify,
Oh, yeah.
it's just that commissioners were mentioning the field. I just want to make it clear it's just for the hangar.
Okay, then I changed mine, the hangar first.
So you're joining our side.
Oh, absolutely, I love that hangar. I see that hangar every day. It's a beautiful hangar.
Before the chair calls for the vote, from the staff side, is there any fiscal implications on like fiscal year funding with funding that might run out that would change any prioritization?
No, we believe we can do one of these over the next 6 months, which would actually straddle 2 fiscal years. So it's achievable.
Okay, thank you.
So if we decide on the hangar, where in the process, the budget cycle with the city, would we look to add this as a potential, the second 3.1 and 3.2?
So what we would do is we would begin the work. We would see how long it would take to complete the work. We would present all of that to you. And when we're done with this task, then we can tell you, depending on when that project is done, how much funding remains within this fiscal year and what would need to wait until next fiscal year.
When does that happen? Is
July 1 is the beginning of the
beginning of
fiscal
the
year.
fiscal year?
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you, when is the request for 26 funds take place?
So we have a 5-year contract with Broadbent, and so it's got a set dollar amount. So we have it in the budget every year, but we know what that dollar number is, and so we would work toward completing these based on that framework.
Sorry, so you're moving forward with this based on what's at Broadbent and not what the city may or may not have available to fund it in the future?
What is that Broadbent? We have a contract with Broadbent. It sets a maximum amount of money that the city can pay Broadbent per year, and then that's incorporated into the budget.
Oh, okay,
And
gotcha.
the budget's
Oh,
approved
got
by
it.
the city council every May for the fiscal year beginning July 1.
Oh, okay.
Courtney, are you still on the line?
I am.
So I'm looking at your proposal here with SHPO and the Board of Museums and History. I am sure you're aware of the staffing shortages at SHPO right now. Have you factored in that timeline into your proposal here?
I actually did not include a timeline because I wasn't sure when the project would start.
Okay.
And
But
I
as far
also
as-
just wanted to, go ahead.
I say, as far as financial implications, if this drags on for a little bit, it's not going to impact the amount.
No, I think too, and I mean, there's an opportunity to phase the project as well. And I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of explanation. The way that we were picturing this was, and how it's presented here, was that we would do a context of everything in Boulder City that's outside of the historic district from 1931 to 1985. So that would incorporate a lot of the existing context that's already been completed, but would add upon that. And I know that the preservation plan doesn't include those earlier years, but those homes that were privately built that are just adjacent to the district could be associated with the history of the district, just on the very brief kind of research that I've already done. So I think that those are important, and I would advocate including those. So we didn't really break it out by, just mid-century or just the 1930s stuff. Our approach, and we're open to discussion for sure, but our approach here was that we would do the context for everything between 1931 and 85 that's, outside of the district. And we would look for significant areas. And so while we're doing the context, if we run across, say, a subdivision or even these private homes or something that there appears to have some significance, then we would take some representative photos of that, include that in the context with recommendations for further study for like intensive level surveys. So that, we're not just surveying the entire city and, documenting every single house without having some sort of background of significance. So that's how we kind of approached it, but we also broke it up into a couple different phases, to make it easier. And then our only thought on that was if it's phased and it crosses over fiscal years, to try and keep the phases together so that it's not, we're doing the first phase 1 year and then 2 years later we pick up and do the next phase. That would be kind of difficult, but that's our only recommendation for that.
The historic context statement, this is Blair, that doesn't just include buildings. It includes other features perhaps in the city that are maybe important?
Yes.
Okay. What I was getting at was things like parks, green spaces,
Right.
cemeteries, whole slew of different types of resources. Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course.
So any other comments or conversation? Is there so what do you need a motion to move forward with? this,
I-
or is it just a discussion and,
Discussion, but, based on what I've heard in terms of feedback, it's clear that the Bullock Field nomination was the priority. So that would be sufficient direction to staff to begin working on that.
So we don't need to vote on it?
No.
Okay.
gotcha,
So thank you for that feedback.
thank you.
Now, if they found houses out of our blueprint, out of our district that fit into, I'm just looking on page 140, where it says it will conduct homes located just outside the historic district and constructed as early as 1931. Would we incorporate those in there, just house by house or location by location?
That would be a separate process in consideration of either adding to the existing historic district or creating a new historic district. So in Title 11 of the City Code, under the Historic Preservation Ordinance, it lays out the process for that.
Okay.
Courtney, would your report make recommendations or options that may include that?
Yes, of course, and we're actually really looking forward to diving into that specific area as well to kind of find out the history of it, because even just with the little bit of research that I did to put this together, there was some really interesting housing options in that area when some of the builders that were building the homes in the district, they just ran out of housing. The city did, so they allowed the private construction, and there were some interesting things that were constructed. So we expect to find some really good history there.
Anything else? All right, can we move on? All right. Next agenda item, number 5. Discussion update on the status of properties in the historic district or other potentially eligible properties.
So this is a monthly report that we provide to let you know what's going on in the district and also properties outside of the district that may have some historical significance. You'll see in the activities, what's noted in bold is new information. The one thing I did want to point out to the commission, you'll see under Historic Preservation Outreach that Ms. Mooney and Ms. Lyon are collaborating on putting together a workshop for realtors. It's tentatively scheduled for April 28th, noon to 1 p.m. And this is an opportunity to let realtors know about the historic districts, the benefits of the district, access to information, so as they interact with clients that might be buying homes in the district, they'll have that information.
Who is making the presentation?
That's Ms. Lyons and Ms. Mooney,
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is invited to,
realtors.
so
All
can,
of them?
Yes, we will send it to every realtor in Boulder City and known realtors that do work here.
Okay.
are members of the commission welcome to listen in?
Oh, absolutely. And the public is allowed to attend too, but per the discussion of the commission, you wanted to really connect with realtors because in many cases, they are the first people to interact with new homeowners.
Yep.
Will the realtors learn that there are restrictions on how the historic district can be modified?
Yes.
Okay, great, because I think that new homeowners need to know that. So they come in with the idea that they're going to renovate their homes to go back to historic era.
There are municipalities in the country that have these types of continuing education in historic properties for realtors. Is the idea that this is kind of a figuring out, maybe we might go that route someday, or is this just more informational?
This is more informational. There's a process in order to get a educational session to become basically permitted to give credits. And this, we figured, is directed at realtors just in Boulder City, so we don't think it would have been able to achieve that educational credits for realtors. And I think it's an easier way for outreach.
But it may just grow into something.
Yeah. It's a
Can the
good start.
title companies also be involved? Because they're the ones that see everybody, no matter
Yeah,
who
we
the
can
realtor
certainly-
is or private
Yeah, we can
sales.
certainly invite the title companies.
All of them.
Michael, I believe, if you remember, several months ago, I had volunteered to be on that committee. I believe I was told that I'd be welcome to be a member. I'm kind of surprised you've got a date and a time and everything, and nobody contacted me.
Well, it's not a committee, it's just an educational opportunity for realtors.
Yeah.
So certainly, I
I
can.
mean, I wanted to kind of work on the city side, because not only am I involved in preservation, but I'm also a real estate investor. I own property in town and have for years, and I'm a former realtor. It's been 100 years since I was licensed, but nonetheless, I know the process. So I would like to be involved with Courtney and the staff member in putting something together, if that's possible.
Yeah, I can have Ms. Lyons reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say thank you and kudos to whoever puts this together. In the past, we never had such great detailed information of what's going on. So this is super helpful, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
That credit goes to Nikisha, so.
She's awesome.
I would also like to give everyone an update on what's going on here in town. Tomorrow, from 4 to 7, is the anniversary of our police department. It's their 65th anniversary, and there's going to be a celebration in front of the police station. With free food, everybody's invited. Let's come out and support our police department.
Thank you.
From 4 to 7.
Thank you. Let's see. Final agenda item for possible action, commission discussion regarding potential agenda items for upcoming Historic Preservation Commission meetings.
So in the November meeting, when the Bureau of Reclamation came with their representatives, they were asked some questions that they were not able to answer and said that they would get back to us. Is there any way
They have
we
not gotten back to us.
Can we reach out to them? And
We have.
you have.
Just remind the commission that they have no obligation. They constitutionally do not answer to the city.
On a good note, I've noticed more foliage. Maybe not enough that make us all happy, but at least there's a little more foliage.
So on the agenda for next month, of course, Historic Preservation Day and Award. Is there a need for an update on the projects that Courtney submitted, or no?
No, because she
Okay.
won't have gotten too much into it by then,
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay. Was there something on did she do anything with World War II? Anything more on World War II?
Just that she has submitted for the grant. So the city has submitted for a $10,000 grant to erect the signs for the World War II designation.
Can we get a look at what the signs look like, or what
Yeah,
she
we
had in
can-
mind and where the location of the signs are, or did that already happen?
No, because we don't know the project scope yet, because we don't know if we're going to get the grant or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But when we do, that will be reported out on the regular agenda item on historic preservation activities.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, now is the final comment period for the evening. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak on any topic. The public may call 702-589-9629 to provide comment. And thank you, Michael. Forgot to say thank you before I launched into that. Seeing that there are no comments, we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you.